You awaken in Razor Hill, Part 5. Hide inside the inn. Catching your breath, you duck inside Razor Hill's inn. The familiar, cozy warmth and welcoming innkeeper both vacant. There is still no movement on your track undead, although your track undead is, if anything, even more stuffed full of nameless blips. Cast Revive Pet. Cast Glyph Mend Pet. Cast Revive Pet failed. Insufficient mana. Cast Glyph Mend Pet failed. Your pet is dead. Search Inn. This is a large, normally friendly and inviting building. A vaguely cylindrical room lined with hammocks and adorned with sort of decorations you'd come to expect. A few skins on the floor, a few skulls on the wall, nicked up old axes in the corner, standard orc issue, nothing fancy or out of the ordinary. There is a ledger here. There is a mailbox here. There is an abandoned meal here. There is a staircase leasing upwards here. Leasing? Cry, run, bargain. If that doesn't work, accept death. Quite the epic adventurer, aren't we? The women must flock to you. Yes, sir. Grab a drink, the beverage left with the meal. Take abandoned meal. You snatch the steel-steaming raptor stew off the innkeeper's desk. Grab the steadily cooling mug of hot joe and down them both like the greedy little piggy you are. Read ledger. You grab the ledger while you're gorging yourself on other people's meals. Set it up in your lap and give it a quick once-over. This is gibberish. There are about 300 or 400 filled pages of all of them are absolutely stuffed full of bizarre and completely chaotic scribbles. You can't make heads or tails of this. You leave the ledger on the desk where you found it. Check mailbox. Looks like you've got a letter in here waiting for you from the Horde auction house. You recover your package to open up to discover 2 mana potions that you apparently totally ripped off on. According to this, you spent almost 25 gold on these 2 potions. You really wish you'd stop trolling the AH while drunk off your rear on leftover Brewfest brew. Ted Nugget has received item, mana potion 2. Go upstairs, check for anything useful. Explore upstairs. You creep upstairs into the innkeeper's room. This is a fair-sized room, outfitted with all the standard accoutrements of a small-town life. A bed, a cabinet, some chests of drawers, a few old rifles slung up on the walls to add a bit of ambience. There is a stairwell down here. There is some chests of drawers here. There is a cabinet here. Check mana. Your mana pool is now at 75%. Most of your cooldowns have come back up. Go on a rampage that is caused by a sudden wave of sheer terror. You gather up all your strength for another lusty war cry, but then think better of it. You're down to 200 rounds, and you've only just now got most of your mana and cooldowns back. Besides, there's really nothing to shoot in here. Try to find flask. You cannot get ye flask, as there is no flask to be got in this area. Cast Revive Pet. Cast Glyph Mend Pet. Concentrating on all your arcane energies, you expend most of your newly regained mana to restore life to Scratch Fever. And then quickly cast Glyph Mend Pet on him to try to assuage? Wow, I've never seen that word before. Some of his stark and apparent unhappiness. Unfortunately, Glyph Mend Pet doesn't restore enough of Scratch Fever's happiness by itself. And you are now, right now, eyeball deep in sad kitty hungry face now. Great. Scratch Fever has spawned. Scratch Fever's happiness is at 40%. Scratch Fever is extremely hungry. Your mana pool is now 25%. I just want to note that Glyph Mend Pet could absolutely be more than enough to get his happiness back up to full. That's just breaking my immersion as someone who mained a hunter in Wrath of the Lich King. Search chest of drawers. You rummage around through the innkeeper's personal stuff with wild abandon, learning many interesting things about this NPC you once saw every day, but apparently never really knew. She was apparently an alcoholic, if all these little bottles of old War Chief single malt scotch are all measures of evidence, and either had a wild social life or an especially vivid fantasy life, if this pile of exciting undergarments are of any judge. Apart from these secrets, you have learned nothing and found nothing. Search cabinets. We open up the tall cabinet and wave a stench and a wave of stench beyond any measure of foul you have ever encountered hits you like a Kodo stampede, and you fall backwards. Welp, found the innkeeper. The innkeeper, whose name you never got, is strung up on the tall cabinet like a broken marionette on tangled wires, suspended in a truly horrible pose, bent nearly in half backwards, all trussed up with some kind of thorny vines that appear to be growing directly out of the tall cabinet walls. Her face, what is visible of it all through those thorny vines, is frozen in a contorted scream of terror and agony. She is quite dead, and has apparently been decomposing for some time now. The innkeeper's mouth is wide open. You think you can see something inside. Scratch Fever, who has assuredly never in his entire life been anywhere nearly as hungry as he is right now, paws at your bare leg and whimpers dejectedly. Equip exciting undergarments on head. You are an endless font of excellent ideas, and this latest one can only be your finest. You are now wearing exciting undergarments on your head. Cast Glyphed Men Pet. God, stupid cat, shut up already. Scratch Fever's happiness is now at 55%. Scratch Fever is now... No, F that. You cast Glyphed Men Pet over and over and freaking over until Scratch Fever's happiness is now at 100%. Scratch Fever is now quite sated. Your mana pool is now at 5%. Okay, you see, finally... I literally just talked about how this was annoying me, and then he just does it. I should just stop criticizing this before I finish it. Screw it, it's worth it. You cannot stand another moment, not one more moment of sad kitty hungry face now face. Not for the first time. You wish you'd gotten a Ravager like all your friends told you. You hear those freaks will eat wet dirt and be happy about it. Did Ravagers have a diverse diet? I don't remember. Trying to get a better look inside the innkeeper's mouth without moving within arm's reach. Inspect innkeeper's mouth. Look in innkeeper's mouth. There is absolutely something in there, but you can't quite make out what it is. Feed innkeeper to Scratch Fever. Scratch Fever is quite sated and not all hungry right now, which is good, because you're pretty sure he won't be especially hot on the idea of consuming decomposing tortured flesh. Nor do you especially want to touch the innkeeper's corpse. Search innkeeper for replacement hearthstone. You reach out a finger, poke the corpse, and fall back with a girlish yelp. This is as close as you get to searching the innkeeper. Check to see if the Warsaw Gulch queue pops this late at night in apparently alternative universe. Now there's an idea. You can queue yourself into a battleground and be swept away from this terrible place. Praying to whatever god you still believe, you open up your PvP panel and... nothing. Nothing but broken text and buttons that don't work. You don't seem to be able to queue to a battleground. Use powder and troll sweat to disguise yourself as zombie. You dump 2 vials of troll sweat over your head and quickly pepper yourself with 2 Oshugun crystal powder. You now smell absolutely horrible, unbelievably foul, like an ancient locker room used only by really sweaty guys that has been doubling as a latrine for the last 6 years. But at least you're very sparkly. 1 vial troll sweat remaining. 1 Oshugun crystal powder remaining. Suddenly feels very thirsty. You only have 1 vial of troll sweat remaining, and you will French kiss the innkeeper's corpse before you drink it. Accept responsibility for your part in your wife's death and realize that you don't need to be punished anymore. What a preposterous notion. You are quite certain that you have never been married, and at this rate, never will be married. Horrible, nightmarish Helltown aside, you really just haven't found the right girl because you're not especially attractive, and you are often plagued with terrible smells. You refuse to even consider such an action and are alarmed with yourself for even suggesting it. The very idea. Pet Scratch Fever. Oh, you know I love you, baby. Ah, who's my good kitty? Who's my good kitty? Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Who wants tummy rubs? Scratch Fever has gained 4 levels of loyalty. Scratch Fever is now your blood brother. God, that was so hard not to laugh.